Hey, what's up, guys? This is John Spier, your host for the Arc Flash podcast. So, today we are going over mindset. Mindset. So, when you want to get in the right frame of mind, I think the very first step is to decide what you really want and what is actually preventing you from having it at the current moment. I think that would be step one. So you'd be absolutely astonished about how many people come up to me and ask me, how did you get, where you are at the current moment? I'll tell them the story, and then for the next 20 minutes, they explain to me what they don't want, what they didn't like, what they don't have. And to me, if you focus on what you don't have, and you focus on what you can't do, and you focus on all of this quote unquote negative energy, is actually creating a barrier stopping you from moving forward. So I believe the first thing that you need to do is that you need to learn from what is stopping you at the very current moment from proceeding to that next step, whatever that may be for you. So, let's say your next step in your journey as a electrician is that you are an electrician and you want to be a foreman. What is stopping you? What is preventing you from taking that next step? What is preventing upper management from seeing you as an upper version of electrician that deserves to be a foreman quality person? So what is that goal? And cannot focus on the negative aspects of those situations. So, because everything is from a third party view, right? So, what in your opinion is stopping you from that situation? And how do we correct it? How do we move forward? How do we continue this chain along in a positive manner to progress yourself? And once we identify what that is, what that change is that we need to make, what is preventing us from making that change? And quote unquote, is this linked to pain, and pain in the general sense? Pain, is this going to cause you pain from asking, questions? Is that your anxiety, is asking questions to the foreman to get more knowledge? Is it painful to be a leader in a leadership role? Is it painful to direct guys and girls in the trade? Is it painful to talk to customers? What is quote unquote your pain in the situation? All right. And once you figure out that, because we always fear, what change might bring, right? So if you're changing something about yourself, to give you an example, I am changing the way I do things to start this podcast because I don't particularly like sharing my opinions. That is my version of pain. I do not like showing any type of emotion towards anything, really. I personally like to be opinionless in the social media realm. So this, for me, creating this podcast is something that's out of my box, out of my norm. Same thing when I started YouTube back in the day, which was like last year. When I say back in the day, it's last year. So when I started YouTube, that was painful because I didn't like being on camera. I didn't like sharing that information. I didn't think that it would be anything more positive. But I also thought, like, the pain of me not doing it and not knowing it was, worse. That if I didn't start somewhere, I was going to go nowhere regardless. So, it all really started with me expressing myself on Instagram. Okay? And that was tough because, we all think that we are like funny or freaking creative or whatever, right? But the rest of the world doesn't necessarily see that, right? So when I first started Instagram on Warhammer Electric, it was just like a meme factory. All I was doing is creating memes and doing things like that. And then it started to get into tools, because I'm a huge fan of tools and the quality of tools. And, and then it kind of grew into, amazing work, and then a combination of all the three. And that's how Warhammer got successful. The next step for me to get out of my little social media box was YouTube, right? Now it's sharing information that I know on the trade that I love. Because I honestly want the next generation of tradesmen to have it easier than I did. I had a phenomenal set of journeymen along the way. I cannot lie to you. That was, the biggest, I can't even express. Like, I had really good teachers and I had really bad teachers too. But the thing with me is, like, I'm soaking up information regardless of the situation, good or bad. I can see something and be like, that looks like the right way to do it. This particular gentleman is getting, commended for this type of behavior, this type of action, and this type of install. So therefore, this must be how you do it. And then reverse of that is I can see someone bad doing something where they're getting reprimanded for the actions that they're taking and the install that they made. And it could be that type of learning experience, both negatively and positively, but equally as positively for me. So that's how I generally see every situation, good or bad. It's a teaching moment, a learning moment that I can base myself off of that. So, I was rambling there for a minute. Anywho, we get back to the bigger picture of the pain for creating something that I felt was necessary for the next tradesman. Was a YouTube channel that was basically concepted as an idea for, if this is your first day doing X, whatever X is, your first day making an eye loop on a rope, if this is your first day making a 3-point saddle, if this is your first day uploading a Excel document into Word, whatever the case is, everything that I've learned into YouTube as a learning experience, and how people would take that based off of me not knowing how to edit, me not knowing how to do anything with like video quality at all. This is just me with a camera and myself trying to show you how to do whatever. And the information on those videos would be informational to some point. And I always kind of said, as long as I helped out one or two people with every video, that video was worth it. Like, if I get one comment that says, thanks, John, that was great, appreciate it, whatever, then that video to me is a success, because I did help out that one person. It can have 10 views on it. I wouldn't give a shit. There was one comment on there that said, appreciate that, dude. That was great. And that is, like, honestly all the satisfaction I would need from that particular video. So, and then the next stage of things is this podcast. So sharing my opinion, sharing my feelings, sharing everything that is going on. How do I present that into an informational thing for you guys? That is hard for me. That is my pain. This is me trying to get out of my comfort zone and go into this direction. So, that is that. Like, I could be an electrician all day long and be fine. I can sell all day long and be fine. But this is out of my comfort zone, trying to move forward. And how you get out of that comfort zone is by execution of your design. And that execution of your design is creating a plan that is preventing you from stopping this. And I'm going to keep using the podcast as a example. So to make the podcast, column A is reasons why I'm not doing it. Reasons why I'm not doing it: I don't like talking. My feelings, my situation, all of that. Not a huge fan. Would anyone find this information valuable? Once again, negative thought. I need to scratch that from the, because in reality, back to the YouTube video, if someone found it a positive thing in their life, then that was worth it. So scratch that from the list. Next thing, computer, microphone, all this external stuff. Computer, microphone, cameras, logo, everything, right? Everything that goes along with making a podcast, production stuff, mixers, all the stuff I thought you needed when I first started this journey. And let's dissect that one in a certain section where I thought I needed a bunch of stuff, right? Like, I thought I needed, like, mixers, microphones, this, that, the other thing. And, I just YouTubed a video on how to start a podcast. Like, what are the very basic first steps of starting a podcast from nothing? So I did my research, found out realistically I just need a microphone and something to save the audio on. If I wanted good quality, quality sounding stuff, which I do. That is definitely one thing I wanted to make sure, right? I found this out in my YouTube videos when I would record stuff off my phone, that a microphone was like almost key to making a better video than the ones I was making currently, because the volume was so low or so poor that, like, no one could hear what was going on. So hence I got a microphone in replace of that, fixed the problem. Now I got better quality and sound. Now I'm working on the visual. That's a whole other deal. So, I already had the microphone. I already had a laptop. I already had, internet access. So all these mythical problems that I made in my head were not really problems at all. They were just roadblocks in my brain that I was like, you need all this stuff. This is what's stopping me. You need all this stuff to do a podcast. But in reality, when I did the research, I found out what it was. It wasn't too much. And, the process to start a podcast wasn't so bad. So I'm like, all right, so that's not really hindering me from doing this. And really, the only thing hindering me from this situation is time, which is very seldom for me because I got 2 kids, a wife, and a full-time job that I work 50 hours minimum, so I have all this stuff that I got to do, so there's a limited amount of time. So I got time is my problem, and the fact that I don't like sharing feelings is another problem. So you dissect those 2 problems. So time, I wake up every morning at 4 o'clock to go to the gym. I usually kick back 30 minutes before I actually physically go to the gym. So in that little time frame, that 30 minutes, I'm making these podcasts where I can do it really quickly. It's fresh in my brain. Boom. That problem is now solved. The list of reasons why I cannot do this is getting smaller and smaller. The next problem is that I don't like sharing feelings, right? Now this is the hardest hurdle to go over. I determined that once again, the fact that I didn't do it, I would be more disappointed if I just let it go and didn't chase it. I could do a 10 episode thing and then just be done with it, or if I like doing it, then we can continue on with the whole process. But I at least gotta 1, give it a chance, 2, open up and try to do it a little bit better, and 3, just execute the plan that I created based off the reasons why I couldn't get started. So I had all those things, we move forward, and that's how you successfully create a plan, figure out what is stopping you from it, creating multiple little plans for those reasons why that are stopping you. Like, if one of them is like, I don't have car access, then your goal is to get a reliable vehicle, and how do you get from point A to point B? Now that is the question for you, right? Do I try to ask for overtime? Do I try to work side jobs? What is that particular case? Because these people find that I am not reliable because I cannot go out of town. Another reason could be like, customer interactions. Why you're completely dull, let's just say. You're completely dull. And, customers don't like interacting with you. That is a total thing that happens with trade people. That it cannot be, they can't express, the customer can't express anything to you because you have a blank look on your face. So, that is changing your personality, right? That's going to cause you pain. And the general sense of pain, not like the physical sense. The general sense of pain, it's going to cause you to change your attitude around different people. But is it a necessary thing to get from point A to point B? From where you're at to where you want to go? Is it something you really, really want? Because if you really, really want it, you will execute that plan. And if you realize and kind of know yourself that that is an issue and that's what needs to be fixed, then you yourself are the only person to fix that. Anyone from the outside is not going to tell you that because of whatever reason, right? This is all comes from you deciding you want to be better about your situation, and how you're doing it is getting from point A to point B in that line, and that's how you go about it. So, to wrap things up, I hope you guys like my little video on this whole little segment of situation. Once again, my name is John Spier. I'm your host for the Art Flash podcast. I will continue doing these podcasts until I deem that they are no longer anything beneficial to anyone. But for the meantime, I wish you guys the best. Be safe out there. And here's, the slogan from the Warhammer page is "Burn the ships, baby." You guys have a great day. Thank you guys. Bye.